Today's launch day. I just finished the final touches on Carrie and Erin's new website. And I literally have goosebumps. Not because the website was super pretty. I mean, it's gorgeous, but mostly because I could see Carrie in the website, like who she is as a person and as a business owner coming through every single piece of the website on this screen. You know, when you're putting together like a puzzle and you have to find that one piece and you put it in and it makes the whole picture clear. This is exactly what I feel like. Everything just clicked. Now, why am I sharing this story with you? Well, if you've ever looked at your website and felt like it doesn't reflect who you are, it doesn't represent who you are, or if you've lost your brand personality somewhere along the way through these years in business, or maybe through a business partnership, a DIY attempt, or just time, then this episode today is going to show you how to get it back. And I'm going to take you behind the scenes of this law firm website transformation so you can recognize when your own website has hidden potential and what strategic steps create these amazing moments. And mostly how to prepare your own website so that everything finally clicks. I want you to walk away with understanding that when everything aligns on your website, it doesn't just look different, your entire business transforms. You show up with more confidence, you attract better, more aligned clients, and people finally see the real you online. So let's get into the episode. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high-performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B., web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. Welcome to the episode. I'm so excited to share this one. I'm getting ready for the launch call today with Carrie and Erin, and I thought I'd record this before our chat just because I finished everything yesterday and it's looking so good, and I'm inspired to share it with you. If we haven't already met, I'm Jenny B and I own Jenny B Designs. We are a brand and web design studio. And my passion is exactly this, what I'm going to talk to you about today. Creating online homes that reflect your personality and bring you out online, the essence of you, so that you offline, when you meet someone in a networking meeting, and then the person goes to your website to see what you have going on in your business, they get to that website and they said, yeah, that is exactly like the person I met. And there's that connection between off screen and on screen. And that's my favorite thing to do. Let's get into the story. So I met Carrie a number of years ago. She's an estate planning attorney here in Massachusetts. And we've just stayed in touch over the years. She is amazing at her job, but she's also warm, approachable. She cares so much for the families that she's helping. And she's not your typical stuffy lawyer stereotype. And when she first started, she was a solo practitioner. And then eventually she merged with her partner, Erin. And the two of them created Modern Legacy Law Group, both of them at the helm of that business. And when they got together, they did some work on their branding. There was a combination of the brand that each of them had before as single entities. They brought that together and they figured out some new colors and fonts. And then put together a website that had the logo on there, but wasn't carrying through the fonts. Some of the colors were there, but that was about it. And there was just some material so that when someone needed to learn about their services, they could go to the website, find what they needed. But it didn't look like them. It didn't feel like them. There wasn't that cohesive look and feel. And you might recognize yourself in this story. Maybe you merged with someone else. Maybe your business grew. Maybe your business just changed over the year. And you ended up with a site that doesn't look like you and the brand that you have today. These are all pieces of this hidden potential that I want you to keep an eye out for. So Carrie came to me and told me that they wanted a space that reflected who they are, bring out their warmth, their personality, their approachability, and the fact that they love to work with families of all kinds, especially non traditional and unique families. That's one of their specialties. And there wasn't anywhere on their website that truly brought that out. As well, they wanted to have imagery that was of their exact office and of the team and all of the people who work in their firm. The first thing that I did after we met is I dug into what they already have. This is one of my favorite parts of the project, finding those hidden gems. It's what you can do after this episode. You can go look at your business with fresh eyes and tune in to finding out, do you have brown colors, first of all? Do you have these colors that represent you? Do you have fonts that represent you? And are they on your website? Or do you just have them in materials that you've been creating for social media or for creating, if you do any print materials, you put it on there, but it's not on your website? Think about that. Ask yourself, what assets do you have that you're not already using? Could it also be photos? Perhaps you had some new photos taken, or you've had a few over the years, but they haven't been updated into your website. Look in the treasure trove of what you might already have that isn't on your website. These are all assets, these hidden assets that you have that you could be putting in to make your website look more like you. That's what I did for them. And we found that they didn't have any photos currently of their new space because they both moved into a new beautiful space, as well as the team. So the first thing they decided to do was schedule a photo shoot and have a photographer come to the office and take some photos that were approachable and friendly and kind and just had their vibe to them. They went ahead and did that, and I collected all the assets that they have. And the second part, and this is another action step for you, is that look at your messaging. Do the words on your website sound like you and not just everyone else in your industry? This is your copywriting. And if you don't have the bandwidth to do this, there are amazing copywriters that I work with and love that I could gladly refer you to. But having the right messaging that can communicate to your ideal clients who you are, what you do, and how you can help them, that also sounds like you, is one of the most important pieces of the puzzle. I have copy templates for all of my clients. It's like a framework that shares with my clients the sections on every page on your website and the purpose behind the section. And then I give them some websites so that they can look and see the words that my other clients have created and the strategy behind the words. And then they come up with their own copy for these sections. And this is where Carrie really shined. She was able to create words in her own voice that was able to represent her services, but also do it in a friendly, approachable way. Using those copy templates, she crafted new words that I was able to use for the website. So messaging is a really important piece of the puzzle. I want you to look at your website, your messaging, your copy. Does it sound like you? Or does it just sound like every other, bookkeeper on the block? And another thing to note is that, when you built this website, you wrote the messaging. But then has it changed? Has your business changed? Has the services that you offer or how you work with clients changed over the years? What are your social media posts looking like? How do you represent yourself in other places other than your website? Has that messaging changed there, but you haven't changed it on your website? This is some of that hidden potential. Look at that copy and then can you weave it through into your own website? These are all things that you can take a look at, these pieces of the puzzle, because when you put them all together and you get it on screen, the transformation is absolutely incredible. Let's go back to Carrie's story. This is where things get really exciting. I have everything in hand that I need. I have all my brand colors. I have the logo. I have the fonts. I have gorgeous new photos. And I have the copy that Carrie wrote. And this is where I start putting things together. I just get this inspiration from the brand, the visual brand, what I said, the colors and the fonts, but also the person that I meet. And when I meet them, I just kind of see what their website could look like. And I start putting everything on screen. Carrie and Erin wanted to have it be approachable, friendly, personable, but also know that they're and they meet you where you're at. And they love working with growing families, business owners, blended families, LGBTQ couples throughout Greater Boston. These are all things that they truly wanted to reflect on their website. And I was able to create a space online using these imagery, they have a signature font, a handwritten font that we've incorporated in certain spots of the website to create that soft aesthetic look and feel. And as I was going through section by section, I could see exactly who Carrie was from this website. Not just as a lawyer, but as someone who truly cares about making people feel secure and understood during an important and vulnerable time. The warm colors, the approachable photos, the very conversational copy, it came together to create this feeling of trust and of comfort. And it wasn't just a website anymore. It's almost like walking into their office and immediately knowing that you were in the right place. And the thing about this project that made it different from other projects is that it just felt so beautiful and so authentic. Every element of the site reflected who they really were, not who they thought they should be as a law firm. And I think it's because they leaned into that and they knew that they wanted to be different. They just wanted to reflect who they are. And what this means for you is that when your website truly reflects your, for lack of a better word, because I don't like this word, but authentic self, visitors can immediately feel it. They're not just looking at another service provider, another lawyer, another bookkeeper, another accountant. They're connecting with a real person who understands their needs. Now, what makes these moments happen? They're not magic, they're not special. They are the result of a very strategic process that I have. And I want to break it down for you so that you can do this on your own. The first thing that you need is preparation. Carrie didn't come to me and just say, my old website isn't working, make it better. She knew she had to make a change. She invested in new photography that reflected her true personality. She was willing to write new copy using my templates. But if you don't want to write your own copy, think about working with a copywriter. And she came to this as a true partner in the process. If you're thinking about redesigning your own website, ask yourself, are you prepared to do the work? Are you prepared to invest in some good photography? Do you have time to write some copy that sounds like you? That's really important. But the biggest thing I think is that we focused on, through her branding, bringing out what was already there instead of creating something new from scratch. You know, she already had those brand colors. They just weren't really being used properly. Her warm personality was her superpower. We really just needed to let it shine through online, and I was able to do that, bringing through the colors and bringing through this beautiful accent font that she was using offline, but it wasn't on her website. A lot of website projects don't reach this amazing success because business owners try to be who they think they should be instead of trying to amplify who they already are. When you align your website with who your true authentic self is and your business goals, that's when the magic happens. And here's what I want you to walk away with. This alignment doesn't just make your website more beautiful, because it will. It'll make it beautiful. But it makes your entire business stronger. When your website truly reflects who you are, you show up with more confidence in networking on social media, when you're having conversations, when you're so happy to tell someone who you do, what you do, and then where they can go to learn more, and you give your web address. That is confidence and success. And that is what a website design can do for you. So let's sum it up. Let's do some takeaways. I want to give you some actionable steps to recognize when your own website has hidden potential and what you can do about it. First of all, if you are a person who loves working with other people, you're a people person, but your website feels cold or generic, or, a corporate, you have hidden potential. There's a disconnect between your personality and your online presence that's just waiting for you to do something. Look at your website. Does it sound and feel like you? If you have brand elements, that visual brand, the colors, the fonts, the photos that you're not using consistently through your site, like I mentioned, you're updating other things, but not your website. That's low-hanging fruit. Go audit your brand assets. See what you have sitting in a folder somewhere that you've used on social media or in print materials and bring it back to life on your website. And then third, if your website copy, the words on your website could be about any business in your industry, just swap the business name, you are missing opportunities to show your unique personality and your approach. Go to your About page, read it out loud. Does it sound like something that you'd actually say to a potential client? Does it have you in it? And then here's how you know when everything is coming together versus when it still kind of feels off. When it's working, your website should feel like the online version of meeting you in person. When someone lands on your homepage, they should immediately understand who you are and how you help them. And when they meet you in person, you should be saying the same exact thing and they should be getting that essence in person. If you're thinking about working with a website designer, here's what you can do to set yourself up to have this awesome moment as well. Invest in some good photography that shows your personality. Not just a headshot when you're standing against the wall with your arms folded or sitting at a desk, but an image that tells your story. Be willing to write copy that sounds like you, not just like every other business, or work with a copywriter. And most importantly, if you are working with a web designer, choose one who takes time to understand your business, your goals, and not just someone who can make your website look pretty. You need to merge the two, always rooted in strategy. And I want you to remember that when your website truly reflects who you are, everything in your business gets easier. You attract better clients, more aligned, that are willing to pay what you require for your services, so higher paying clients, and you feel more confident sharing your web address, your URL, and people connect with you before they even book that call. They're not booking a consultation call to learn about your services. It's more of a vibe check to make sure that you are the person that your website represents. So if Carrie's story resonated with you, if you're ready for your own website moment, your magic moment, I'd love to chat. You can click the link in the show notes to book a discovery call with me, and we could talk about how to bring your authentic self online. And if you're not ready for a full website redesign, but you want to identify those hidden assets that are in your current site, a website audit might be a great option for you. I can take a look at what you've got going on and share exactly what's working and what might be improved. So thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you next time. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.